Hello and welcome to Going for Broadway. I'm Eryn and each week I chat with playwrights, directors, actors, talent agents, and many others who live their lives in, on, and around the stage. I'm sharing their secrets so you, too, can join me on this journey towards Broadway. So an actor walks into a bar, and he says, "Hey, can I get some glow tape on this thing?"
Welcome to the Going for Broadway podcast with Eryn Wu. Eryn is a young performer who has acted and sung in many plays and has dreams of reaching Broadway. Each day is another step closer to that goal.
Hello, this is Going for Broadway. Today I have Mr. Darius Wright with us. Darius, born and raised in Houston, Texas, Darius had a dream of being one of Janet Jackson's background dancers. By the time he was in high school, those dreams were long forgotten. During his 10th grade year, his close friends introduced him to musical theater and made him a promise to audition for the upcoming musical. Darius later found himself graduating from Oklahoma City University with a degree in musical theater and moving to New York to pursue the glamorous life. Alongside doing multiple regional theater productions, Darius is currently in the ensemble of the national tour of Matilda, while also covering the tracks of The Escape Artist, The Doctor, and Michael Wormwood. So Darius, when did you decide that you wanted to be an actor?
It was kind of a three-step kind of process. In high school, I didn't actually know that you could pursue music theater as a career. I kind of just stumbled into it. And the director just told me that I should look into Oklahoma City University, which I did. And I didn't really decide to be an actor until I got my application in the mail. And I just kind of figured, well, why not?
Yeah.
And then when I went to college, the second part was, it was really hard for me. I felt like I was a late bloomer and I was so far behind all these people who had been doing music theater way before I even knew it existed. And I was playing catch up and I didn't know if I started too late. And then I ended up auditioning for my first professional job and working with the Lyric Theater of Oklahoma. And there, when I was there that summer, I was like, okay, before it started, I was like, okay, Darius, you're going to do this. And once the summer's over, you're going to see what it's like to be an actor professionally. And if you want to keep pursuing it, because I was kind of on the edge and not really knowing. But once that summer was over, I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. This is exactly what I want to do. Mm-hmm. But I mostly wanted to just like sing and dance. If you want to say be an actor, most recently I've actually just been like, Darius. It kind of like hit me out of the blue. I was like, you want to be an actor. You want to be an actor. You want to go take acting classes. You don't want to just sing and dance. You want to communicate something. And so when I really decided I wanted to be an actor was then most recently, and just my journey for myself and what I want to do and what I want to accomplish. Yeah, and I'm excited to, whenever I'm done touring, to go back to the city and take some acting classes and some on-camera classes so I can explore that.
And so you have your BM in music theater from Oklahoma City University. Just what kind of training did you do at that school?
Lots. I was in the Bass School of Music, which is the same school as Kelly O'Hara went to, and Kristen Chenoweth, and Destin Owens, and Ron Raines, and lots of people have gone to this school. And we learn, music theory and oral skills, which basically is have tools so that you can look at music and you know how to sight read it, you know what's actually happening, you know the chordal structures. We learned the history of music, and we got to take piano. And I really enjoyed learning music theater through a very technical musical aspect, just because I was so mathematical minded and logical minded. But we also we had access to the acting school, and we had access to the Ann Lacey School of Dance. And there are many people who go to the Ann Lacey School of Dance and become Rockettes or are on Broadway and dancers. It's a very good dance school and a very good acting school. And being in the music theater program, I had access to all three of those places at once. And, it's my job to go in and kind of soak as much out of it as possible. But it provided a great foundation for me to build upon. And OCU has so many productions a year, whether they're main stage productions, which are, done by the resident directors, or student productions, or dance shows, and this and that. And there's so much going on that you have an opportunity to be a part of so many productions.
Right.
And I think that's a great service that it provided. And it prepared me to go out into the world. I don't think I would have been, able to like sight read the music. I would, you get at auditions and you have to walk out of the room and come back in.
Right.
I don't think I'd be as prepared. And one thing that it also had was that we had this great program called OCU NYC, where every spring break you sign up online, you go to New York. There's like a week-long workshop where you get to work with casting directors and choreographers and dance captains of shows who would teach you audition combos, and they'd give you feedback, and you do like a mock audition for a casting director, and they give you feedback, and you got to live in New York for a week, and it made the transition from moving from Oklahoma City to New York very seamless. And I really appreciated that about my school. It just gave you lots of experience.
And do you have any other training than OCU or the workshops you were talking about?
Not yet.
Okay.
I hope to have some more very soon.
Many of my audience are in high school, like myself, with dreams of just being an actor like you. And so you train at university. On the other hand, I'm sure you know many faux actors that haven't. So do you think it is important to go to university for the performing arts and investing the additional 4 years versus just auditioning for jobs and just going at it?
I think that everybody has their own journey. Me looking back, do I think I was ready to just move to New York and do it? At the time, I could have been like, yeah, I'm ready. I just graduated high school. I don't have to live at home anymore. I can just move to New York and, audition and be on Broadway or, whatever, have it. And I look back and I was like, no, Darius, I was not ready. I didn't know what music theater was. I knew Legally Blonde and I knew Wicked, and I don't think that was enough. I didn't know exactly what a flap was, even though I had tapped it before. I just didn't know. I didn't know the technicality of it all. And OCU provided me with that. And also it provided me with, a solid foundation that I could build upon. I came out knowing more shows than ever. I had been exposed to operas and straight plays and dances and things I wouldn't have appreciated as much, orchestrations. I got to dive into music, and I have a greater appreciation of it because of it. Is it for everybody? No. Not everybody does it. And, I know people who started out at a college, left, went on to win Tonys, or didn't go to college at all and do great things, or like go to college, get a show, leave, and then, do online classes so they get their degree. But everybody has their own journey, and
right.
Whether school is the right thing for you or not is up to you. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It gave me lots of connections. In New York, I have a great friend base when I moved to New York. I know that if I needed anything, I can just write on the OCU webpage and be like, hey guys, I need something. Can anybody help me out with like getting a job, or has anybody heard of this audition or anything like that? Or you have a couch for me to like stay on for the night while I'm moving places, or can you help me move apartments in New York? I wouldn't have that huge kind of database to reach out to if I needed anything in New York. And plus, it's like the college experience. Like I'm glad I got to grow up and learn how to be independent and how to pay my bills. And, and just to kind of do it on my own before being an adult right off the bat.
And you said on your website that after college you moved to New York to pursue the quote-unquote glamorous life. So what was that exact vision like for you?
At the moment, it was really glamorous. I would go to New York, and I had these, there are two people I really admired. After I first worked my summer at Lyric Theater of Oklahoma, I met Christopher Rice and Sasha Hutchings, Chris is currently in the Book of Mormon on Broadway, and Sasha is currently in Hamilton on Broadway. And they both left, moved to New York, and Sasha ended up being in Memphis, and Chris was in West Side Story, the national tour, and I was like, I'm going to do that. Within 3 months of me moving to New York, I was gonna be on Broadway, and I was so ready for it. And it kind of slapped me in the face, not in a bad way, but I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready for the heartbreak. I wasn't ready for the pressure I was putting on myself, or that I didn't know I was putting on myself.
Yeah.
And, I wrote that, the glamorous life, after that period. My 3 months went by and I wasn't on Broadway yet. I wrote that then because I had done a little night music before, and I realized in that moment was like, this is the glamorous life. It's Stephen Sondheim says it really well in that song, that, even when you're touring, there's a mouse that runs around the theater that we're at right now. And it's like, this is the glamorous life that everybody comes and sees the shows, and they're like, oh, great. But there's a little rat running backstage, which is fine. I don't mind rats.
Yeah.
You have the audition process. You have being cut. You have almost getting the part. You have this and that, and it can weigh you down a lot. But there's a wonderful payoff whenever you do get a job, or, you do have that great experience with somebody in the audience, or
right.
You get to touch somebody, or, not like touch somebody, but like, touch them spiritually. And the great friends you make, and the great places you go. And sometimes you don't have a kitchen in your hotel, and that kind of sucks. And you have to eat out all the time, or you have to make little sandwiches, whatever it may be. I wrote The Glamorous Life after because I realized that it is exactly how Stephen Sondheim put it. And it's hard and wonderful at the same time. It's mm-hmm. stressful, it's beautiful, it's crazy, and it's exactly what it should be.
Yeah.
Is it what I imagined it to be? No, but it is wonderful.
Yeah. And I watched a video of you performing in Legally Blonde as Grandmaster Chad, and that was awesome. Killed it. Yeah. And you were also
New Year.
Yeah. The videos in the New York Music Festival's next Broadway sensation. Mm-hmm. So was that a competition? What was that all about?
Well, for me, I was like looking on Playbill or something, and I was like, what is this? And there was an audition for Aladdin, which I had gone in for already, and I was like, you know what? I'll just like check this out and see what it is, and then I'll go to this Aladdin audition after. And so I went because I just wanted to do something new, and I never sang in a competition before. So I went and auditioned, and I made it to the top 20, and I was like, okay, cool. And then I think the whole competition was, that quote-unquote competition, was to, I think the person who won would get to perform at 54 Below and like have like a solo like concert kind of recital and get like some exposure to some music theater people, casting, etc. I think that's kind of what it was all about. Yeah. I didn't make it past the top 20 into the top 6. But like that was all right. I had a great time and I learned something, and I did something new. And for me, again, doing that was to get out of my comfort zone, to stop, being like, oh, I'm only going to do music theater. I'm only going to audition. It's like, Darius, do something new. Like, explore.
You have a lot of regional theater credits, specifically productions at the Lyric Theater of Oklahoma. And so you said you jumped into that during one of the summers after college?
Yeah. The Lyric Theater of Oklahoma is a regional theater in Oklahoma, obviously. And it happened to be like an equity theater. My freshman year, I was just kind of like in the cafeteria, and somebody told me that they were having auditions for Hairspray at the Lyric Theater of Oklahoma. I was like, oh my gosh, that seems so much fun. But I didn't think I could audition because I was still in school. They're like, why don't you audition? I was like, well, I can't. They're like, yeah, you can. Just, go, you should probably go. They're doing Hairspray. And I mean, like, I'm black, so I was like,
right.
Oh yeah, you're right. Like, I should go audition for that. And so like, I went and auditioned, and And I checked mark like Hairspray because that's all that I knew that was that they were doing. I didn't know what Oliver was. They were also doing a chorus line, which I kind of knew. So actually, I checked that one too because I was like, oh yeah, Richie Walters. Like I would love to be him. And then Ragtime, I didn't know what Ragtime was, and so I didn't check that. And so I just gave them my slip, and I went in, I sang, and then I got called back to dance later on another day, and then I got a phone call saying that they wanted me to do their whole season.
Nice.
And I was like, wait, but I didn't even audition for those shows. In my head, I didn't, but I did technically.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a great experience. I worked there every summer, and I got to make some money doing what I like to do, and I met so many wonderful people. I got to work with Billy Porter and Christy Kate,
Wow,
Derek Colby, and there's so many people that I met there who have done wonderful things in the theater, who are continuing to do best level, and are still great connections for me. And I was fortunate to work there every summer, and it was great, and I had a great time there, and it's kind of like home, and I like going back and visiting, and I would definitely love to work there again.
And would you say that performing there has helped you prepare for just touring nationally?
I mean, I don't know if it helped me prepare for a national tour. It's kind of like the same kind of process. The process for the tour is way longer than the process of learning those shows, because we just had a shorter amount of time to put them up in Oklahoma. And here we spent a month alone in a rehearsal studio, where there we would spend a week. Tech rehearsals took a month for the tour, and in Oklahoma it would be 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
So looking back, yes, it helped me. I learned the business side of music theater. I learned how to take what I learned in school and apply it to what I was doing while I was still in school. And so that was nice. And so it was whenever I moved to New York or got this job, it was easy to, I was like, okay, so this is how I apply what I learned. It came naturally over just doing it for such a long time. Yeah, I think that's all there is to it. I don't think you have to do one to do the other. Every production is generally run in the same kind of fashion. Just the amount of time that you get to do it is different. When I was in Oklahoma, you kind of have to be on the ball because you have 7 days to learn a show and have your tech rehearsal, and you have to put it up. Yeah. So you kind of have to know your words to your song, know your lines, and then while you're performing that one show, you're learning another show on top of that. So it's summer stock. And so, one day you're performing Hairspray at night, and then in the morning you're learning Ragtime, two totally different musicals. Yeah. But and totally different ways of singing, but you have to be ready to do it all and have the energy to do both of them at the same time. With this, it's nicer that, I'm only doing one thing, but when it comes to understudying stuff, it makes that stuff easier. So because I've had experience of just being on top of it and knowing multiple things at once. Right. And, I learned my music pretty fast because I had to learn it fast before. And so I'm like, well, let's just learn it. So, it helped a lot. Is it necessary? No, but, I learned a lot from working at the Lyric Theater of Oklahoma and Music Theater of Wichita. Mm-hmm. Matilda is your first national tour. And just how did you get into this? Well, I moved to New York, and I was non-equity, and I had from working these summer stock jobs, I had maybe 36-ish equity points. And so I was on my way to getting my equity card, and at this point I was still non-equity. I went to an open call that I saw on BroadwayWorld.com. And funny thing, I actually asked my one of my good friends to sign me up because they were getting up early and I had to do something else, so I couldn't be there as early. He forgot to sign me up. So I was the last name on the list to go in, and I waited for a very long time, and there was only 30 minutes left, and I didn't think the last group was going to be seen, and they ended up seeing the last group in a short amount of time. Everybody else had about an hour, and we were seen very quickly. They taught us to dance really fast and had us do it, and then we were basically shoved out. And that was maybe in September, maybe. And then in November, I believe, I got a call back, and I did the exact same dance that we had learned that one day, and then had another call back for like a couple of days later, and we learned 2 new dances, and we sang. And then like time went by, and I didn't hear anything. And then in December, I got a call, and they wanted to see me again. And so I went, and I was like in one group of like 4 groups that were going at a time. There were these huge groups, and I was like, oh my gosh, this just got crazy.
Yeah.
And so we did all the, like, we learned some more dances, and then, you know, we left. And then I went to Florida because I was doing crazy for you out there. And then I got a call saying that I have a call back in January, and I couldn't make it because I was in Florida, and the theater wouldn't let me leave. And, you know, I was like, I don't know what to do. I was talking to the casting, and I was like, I really want to be there, but I can't leave because I'm doing the show. And I sent in a video, and I didn't hear anything back from it. And there were like 2 more people in that show with me who were also in the audition process, and were supposed to be there too, and they couldn't make it, so we all just sent videos. And so we all didn't hear anything, so I was like, you know what? That's okay. It's just a job. I have a job right now. We're great. I'm going to move back to New York, and when this job is over, and, you know, go from there, audition. And then so, you know, I went back in February, at the beginning of February, and I was auditioning, and then out of the blue, like towards the end of the month, I got a call saying that they wanted to see me again. And, you know, they were having these dance calls, which I didn't have to go to, but they would like me to go to so I can just remember the numbers. And then I'd be going to the final callback at the end of the week. So I went to like one of the dance things, and I didn't go to the other one because I had some other callback that I had to go to. And then I went to the final callback for Matilda, and it was like, I think if I remember correctly, it was like, I think there were 16 of us. There are 4 girls and 12 guys. And I hadn't seen any of them before. And, you know, we went in and we danced for 3 hours straight. And we did all the dances, and we were given corrections, and we kept dancing. And then we did it 2 by 2 by 2. And then we went out, and then, you know, we went back in to sing your songs and sides that you were given. And I was the last person to go. So I went in, and they gave me sides for Rudolfo, and I had Mr. Wormwood, Rudolfo, and Michael Wormwood. And then I didn't end up reading the Mr. Wormwood side, and they ended up giving me the doctor sides. So me and this other guy learned them, went out, came back, sang them. And then on the spot, he gave me, again, on the spot, he gave me the escape artist side, which, you know, I just went to the piano, said read, and then sang, and then that was it. And then I left. I went to Schmackery's and bought some cookies, and then like on like the next Tuesday or something like that, which was like only like 4 days later, I got an email saying that I would hear from them by the end of the day, and from my agent. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Like, will they tell me that I didn't get it? I don't know. I literally didn't know what to think.
Yeah.
When this went on for about 2 hours, I was so confused, and I didn't know what to do. And then my agent called me and told me I got it, and I was so happy.
Nice.
And yeah, that was basically the process. It went on from like September to, my process went on from September to the end of February.
Wow.
And rehearsals started at the end of March. So, I mean, which is a pretty long time. And, you know, sometimes things work out like that. Sometimes, you know, it takes a long time to do casting for something.
Yeah.
Or they'll cast something either really early and you have to wait a long time to actually do it. It's really different depending on who's casting and what show and the director and what everybody needs. Yeah, I don't know if mine was long compared. I haven't had too many experiences with like a long amount of callbacks because, you know, I just graduated last year. So I still think it's crazy that, you know, it kind of worked out. And they say it was pretty soon. Like, my agent was like, you got a job really fast. And I was like, what? No, I didn't. But they're like, that's pretty fast to, you know, get a job on an Academy National Tour within 6 months. So I take that as a compliment.
Yeah. And so what is it like traveling on tour? How's the lifestyle of just going from city to city and just performing in front of so many different audiences?
I mean, it's nice. I don't have an apartment back in New York right now. I was just subletting, which is basically, staying in a friend's room while they're away and doing a show or something and just paying the rent so that they don't have to pay the rent, which is really typical there. So I'm not paying any rent back in New York. I'm not like worrying about my place and all that stuff, which is really nice. And the best part about traveling is that the show's the same. Mm-hmm. Like you have some consistency in your life. And also a nice thing about it is that, for me, like I like change. And so it's cool to be in one place one day and then be in another. And it's basically like work. You get to work, you get to make your money. And while you're doing that, you get to travel, you get to see the world, you get to have basically a mini vacation.
Yeah.
Lots of mini vacations. That's the very nice part of it. And for me, I haven't been to some of these cities. Like we're in San Francisco right now. I've never been to San Francisco. I've never been to New Haven. I've never been to Seattle. I've never been to Denver. So like I'm really excited about visiting places I've never been before. And, I'm really excited about going home to Houston because I never thought that I would perform there. Mm-hmm. I didn't even realize it was an option until I got this and I was like, oh my gosh, I get to perform in the Hobby Center. That's crazy. I've seen so many shows there. Never once did I think that I would be on that stage. I've never been on the stage before. And so that's really exciting to go home and perform in my hometown.
Yeah.
And the audiences are great. There's not really a difference between any of the audiences. People are people and, people enjoy the show and they laugh at different moments as any audience does. It's just the only thing that really changes is, the scenery.
Mm-hmm. And so not only are you in the ensemble, but like you said earlier, you're covering the tracks for The Doctor, Michael Wormwood, and The Escape Artist. So that means you're understudying for them, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A cover understudy kind of people interchange them. I believe. And
so how long are you given to learn these roles aside from your normal ones?
There's not really a specific date. Sometimes there is, say I don't cover Miss Trunchbull, but say if Miss Trunchbull has in her contract that this date she's going to be out, then the person doesn't have to, but they know the understudy or cover will be like, I'm probably going to have to go on that date. So I should probably figure it out before then.
Right.
And that's basically the same. It's like for me, I focused on my part first and learning what I needed to do because that'd be the majority of what I would be doing. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I had spare time, I would take a video of what was happening in the rehearsal hall so that I could write it down later. And you have lots of time. You have as much time as you want to dedicate to it. Basically, today we have a rehearsal where I'm going to be learning physically what I do on stage and where I go. And, we've been a while into the process now, and I haven't seen it yet because we haven't had time for me to see it on the stage. And so I get to do that today. But I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing because even while we're doing the show, I watch off in the sides and the wings backstage of what's going on stage and who I'm covering and what I move and where it's supposed to go. And you do that as much as you want. There's no time. There's no time constraint or time restriction, really.
And just how often are you playing these understudy roles? Are you ever just thrown on stage when you just weren't prepared for it?
Well, I haven't played any of them yet.
Okay.
Which is great. And, I'm excited for whenever I do get to, because the more time I have off and I'm not just thrown into it, the more prepared I feel for it. There's kind of two people generally know the role of somebody else. So let's say if that person got sick, one person may go on, but if that person is sick, then you go on. And there's no order to it. It's just okay, what does, stage management decide and, who's had the more rehearsals on it or this kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And so tomorrow we're having a understudy rehearsal where none of the normal people will be doing the show. It will be all understudies. And whenever we do that, I get to play these roles that I understudy, and which is fun. And because there's no pressure, it's just like, okay, let's see if you still got it.
Yeah.
Let's see if you actually can do what you think you're supposed to do without having really, really done it, which is fun. We've had multiple, and they're really fun, and they're very successful.
Yeah. And just out of curiosity, what exactly does the escape artist do?
The escape artist is the part I'm really excited about. He's a recurring character in one of the stories in the story that Matilda tells throughout the show. He comes out and he has like this big cape and this unitard, and like that's basically his character without giving away the story at all.
Yeah.
He's just like this big Houdini type person who's just a very important part of Matilda's connection to other people throughout the story.
Right. Many actors I've spoken to act in just a lot of different genres. They do tours, they work on Broadway, they've done commercials, TV, film, just getting whatever work they can. And I see that you've mostly just focused on musical theater. So do you just see musical theater as your main niche?
I mean, I guess it's where I put myself. I wouldn't say it was like my main niche. I think, now, especially after going to college and being exposed and moving to New York and seeing how integrated everything is, that you're not just doing one thing, you're doing multiple things, especially with them, doing Peter Pan Live, I auditioned for that. And I got a call back for it. And, they're doing The Wiz, and you see people popping up who are in music theater doing television. Like Orange is the New Black, there are so many people who've been on Broadway who are in that. There's so many shows. Kimmy Schmidt. And that's because, lots of television is starting to happen in New York now, more so than Los Angeles. And I think it's great. And do I want to do it? Absolutely. Do I want to do more than, just be on stage? Yeah. Do I love being on stage? Absolutely. And I think if given the chance to do it, TV, film, commercial, I would definitely do it.
Yeah.
I would definitely do it. I would never say no. And I'm looking forward to going back to New York and, taking classes and learning about these things. And even while on tour, just, doing some research and, reading about it and watching television and seeing, who's doing what and how do I get involved, and talking to people who have been involved in their journeys. And, so if there ever was to do a movie or a film or something, I would definitely do it. I would also want to go back into music theater, because the best part of music theater is that you get to be an actor every day. Being in a movie or something, you may, shoot for a little while, not shoot for a little while, shoot again, not shoot again, and I like the consistency of, being on stage and constantly performing, which I don't know if you get every day being a screen actor, but I know both of them are probably their own adventure, and I'm excited to learn about the other.
Right. Just what advice do you have for aspiring young actors in reaching their goals in acting and potentially being on Broadway or going on tour?
I think that just to know that this is something that you're never the best at, and knowing that you need to keep growing in your craft and you have to keep honing your skills, or else you'll get complacent, especially as an art form. This is art, and art continues to grow. Yeah. Also, not to compare yourself to anyone else, because, you are you and you can only be the best you. Someone once said that be a first-rate version of yourself, not a second-rate version of someone else. Mm-hmm. And I believe it's true. Like, you have to be the best you can be, because when you go home after that audition, you have to be happy with you. Right. You can't be upset that you got cut, because it has nothing to do with you. You may have been too tall, but you can't be like, oh, I'm too tall. You're like, okay, I'm too tall, but there's something I'm perfect for. I'm the right height for. Or if I was blonde, and they wanted a brunette. Okay, well, I'm blonde. Uh-huh. Like, there's nothing wrong with me, and I love my blonde hair, and I love myself, and that's all you can say. You can't get mad about it, and I think that's very important. It's just like having that so much love for yourself that you're okay with the no's that come your way. And it's even better when you get a yes.
Yeah.
You have to keep yourself up. And it's a really easy thing to do. You just have to build that strength and,
right.
Really, really, really love yourself.
And so do you have any thoughts for the parents of these aspiring young actors?
I think with in my household, I'll just say what comes to mind was my mother at first didn't, think music theater was a career, and it was kind of hard at first. But my grandfather was the one to be let him do what he wants to do, and she listened. But I think my mother's honesty about how she felt is perfect. My mom's honesty about how she felt is perfect because she told me exactly how she felt. She was honest with me, telling me that, this is what happens if you go into the arts or dancing or acting or something. It's going to be hard. And I don't know if that's something I want you to do. And it's mostly because she loves me and she cares for me,
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciated that about it. But my mom also listened. And when I say, this is really what I really want to do, Mom, I think I can really do it. I got into this college, and, I think if I put my mind to it, I put other things, if I give my all to it, I feel like I can succeed.
Yeah.
And she listened, and she said, okay, let's go for it.
Great.
And so I think it's really important for a parent to, be honest with how they feel and, and also listen with an open heart.
What's up next? You just started this tour, though, right? It's just...
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So...
We're about, almost halfway done through, our first kind of leg of the tour, which is basically, the first contract of the tour.
Right.
We're almost halfway through with that, which is really exciting.
Do you have anything planned afterwards yet?
Not yet. I'm just kind of going with the flow. I make sure... Well, currently, I'm taking dance classes as much as I can. Kind of building up my ballet again, continually growing while I'm on tour, reading this book I got in college called Acting in Musical Theater. So I can just keep honing my skill. Sometimes I go through my rep book and, search for more music that I could possibly sing and audition or just to sing in general. I look up, I go on BroadwayWorld.com and I keep looking up and seeing what auditions are happening, what's happening in New York, anything new is going on, what workshops are happening. I email my agents and see what's happening with them. So I'm not just floating around.
Right.
I'm not escaping the tour at all. I'm not trying to leave at all. I just making sure that I'm still up to date with all the news that's happening. But yeah, I'm just going with the flow. Hopefully I get to do this for a whole year and head back to New York and see what's happening then.
Great.
Hopefully more shows and hopefully some television and hopefully something live on NBC, hopefully the Tonys.
Nice.
There are lots of things that I would love to happen.
Yeah.
But, I'm just going with the flow.
Great. Well, Darius, thank you so much again for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you when you come to Greenville and Matilda.
Sweet. Awesome. See you then.
Thank you
for
again.
having me.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right.
Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that interview again with Darius Wright. Thank you once again for being on the show, Darius, and thank you all for listening, and I cannot wait for the next sessions to come because they're just getting better and better, and I cannot wait for you to hear them. So just keep going, keep pushing, keep striving for what you want, and best wishes from me. And just have fun out there. Kill 'em.